David, something relatively new from Nissan. It's big, it's butch, it's full of tradies. What is it?
It is the Nissan Navara Pro 4X Warrior.
Oh, I feel tired just saying it. Now, David, it seems like a bit of an oddbod that they'd take their top Nissan Navara, already a very good car, and make it extra. What's that all about?
I spoke to the people that do this, the consultants, Premcar, and they say
Premcar, is that the limousine hire mob?
Not quite.
No.
Not quite. They're engineers who develop cars and started out with Falcons and doing
Actually,
that sort of stuff.
I knew that. Do you know what? They've got a lot of people that used to work for Ford and Holden working for them.
Indeed. And they find that overseas you can get a few mocked up sort of cars.
Yep.
But in Australia we want to have something that is specifically for us. A number of companies do it. They're doing it in style and with obvious intent.
What's not standard is all of the business that you can see here at the front, the off-roading bit. So you've got the standard lights, but all of this stuff is from the Premcar people.
What they're asking for, what the customers typically want, is things like a bull bar, although that's a very understated one in a way. They want protection underneath the car and a few other features and obviously clearance that means they can go off-road with comfort.
That's right. Well, what this has got is 17-inch wheels. It's 40 mil higher than the standard Navara. Also, the approach and departure angles have been improved. And they've been improved because bits of it have been chopped away along with that additional ride height. But they've done nothing mechanically.
No.
When I say mechanically, I mean it's got the same 2.3
litre diesel.
Turbo diesel with twin turbo diesel with a 7-speed automatic. David, how many kilowatts has it got?
140, Alan.
So they've made a lot of extras on this car to take it up to a Navara worth $67,500. Now, the odd thing is that there's a couple of things about this car that are not included. For example, heated seats. But if you get the next model down with the leather pack, you get heated seats.
Not the there's a Pro. There's a Pro 4X.
The STX.
The one before, yes, the STX.
STX.
Which is clearly aimed at a different part of the market, one with much more, well, more comfort and less ruggedness and perhaps less rugged appearance.
Interestingly, Nissan told me just a few minutes ago that 70% of the people that buy LCVs, so pickup utes, modify them. Now, it might be a small modification or it might be a big modification. But you made a comment to me just before, David.
I don't think it looks that different from a normal ute. Now, we have little school kids walking past here, you'd like them to think, hey, I've got a big thing.
True.
They look in the back here and think, oh, that's just a white ute.
And so it is, but I'm not quite sure what more you could do with these tail lights. They still look pretty, maybe some decals and so forth, but there's a reversing camera up here which has made these things so much easier to drive. Now, we are parked in a driveway, so normally we wouldn't be quite this far off the ground. Inside, there's a tub liner. That's standard. We've got some tie downs. David, please show the tie downs.
And they're remarkably adaptable.
Well, let's demonstrate something else. There's a Navara badge while David's fiddling around. Some internal tie downs. So you can
There we go.
tie down lower. Oh, you managed.
You've got to undo it a long way.
Yes, I think you could probably make a little bit more noise if you tried. There's another set of tie downs at the front and also the lower tie downs within the tub itself. So, and there's no PowerPoint and no light.
A lot of fancy stitching here, Alan.
That does look smart, isn't it? What's it like for comfort, David? Hop in.
Here we go. Now,
That's quite an effort, isn't it?
It does have a
Side step.
Now,
this is where we'd stash our gormless apprentices, David. So there's not a whole lot of leg and knee room there, is there?
Oh, pretty good room here, but you've got a high floor, so your legs are a bit in the air, and it's a very firm sort of seat. It's a bit of the school desk, old school desk sort of thing.
But look, it does feel slightly upmarket in the back. Having said that, there's a lot of very scratchy plastic, so it's never very far from its industrial roots.
No.
Nice, clear,
Very clear.
reversing camera. You should be able to get out those gates without taking out the wheel arches, which of course are a little wider.
Protrude.
Yeah.
No, that's not too bad.
There's no, I've got my Navman plugged in down here on the center console. There's no outlet up here, which some of the SUVs have and LCVs.
What a clever idea.
It's a brilliant idea. The sound system has DAB, AM and FM, plus it has Apple CarPlay.
Fair number of turns, lock to lock, you may have noticed.
Yes. We've got dual zone climate control. While we're standing still, there's a few other things I want to point out. There's a lot of scratchy plastic about the place. And the other annoying thing is that when you've got your phone plugged into CarPlay and you do a message with voice or whatever, it won't go back to radio, or it doesn't always go back to radio. So you've got to go back into the source and go DAB again. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes the voice control for changing back to DAB works, and sometimes it doesn't. Very, very, very annoying.
The voice actuation is a wonderful system until it doesn't work well. And then you get frustrated.
I thought you were going to say it's a wonderful system until you try and use it. So again, if you want manual, you've got to go over, and that'll take you into manual. There's no paddles,
No.
which is very unusual even for an SUV-LCV.
Do you want to be thinking about that if you're in the rough and tumble?
Well, maybe that's when you would want to think about it, because back in the old days, all you had was a manual.
Yeah. The nice thing about an automatic is often now predicted as the best way to cope with rough and tumble.
The off-roading controls are fairly simple. There's a lock mode, the four-wheel drive selector mode, which goes from 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low. This is one of those four-wheel drive systems that doesn't like being on hard tarmac in 4 high or 4 low.
Clearly there are some other models with some other features.
There's a lot of extra buttons in this car. You've got some drive modes as well. They're fairly simple. You've got tow, sport, standard, and off-road. I'm not quite sure you need anything really. Do you want to try it in sport for a bit?
Why would you want sport, Alan?
Well, I think, as I said, most buyers for this car are not going to take it off-road. They're doing it purely for bragging rights at dinner. But one thing I did notice is the cabin, and I noticed this when this model change happened last year, I think it was. That's much quieter. Very quiet inside. The engine still sounds like a tractor, but the road noise is amazing.
I drove it up to the hinterlands in New South Wales, up around Coffs Harbour and out into the bush sort of thing, and getting there was wonderfully comfortable.
Before we head off, I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up or not. Maybe the camera in the back will, but there's a little electric window in the back. Can you hear that? The camera in the back is mounted on that window. It's sliding. Now, one thing that I will say is that this is incredibly easy to drive around town.
Yeah.
You know, it feels, I wouldn't call it nippy. I'd call it, as Rolls-Royce used to say, adequate. The light's really starting to fail us now. The lights, automatic lights have come on. The screen's gone into dark mode, into night mode. David, these things are meant to carry stuff, so the suspension is set for a slightly more taut experience. They always feel better with a bit of a load on.
And 3.5 tonnes towing capacity.
Well, they've increased the GVM of this to, is it 3250 or some such? So there's 100 kilos extra of GVM. So that means that they can, the add-ons for the Premcar stuff hasn't adversely affected the car in any way.
Yeah.
David, this is one of my favourite LCVs. I like it for its looks. I like commercial vehicle, by the way. I like it for its looks. I like it for its off-road capability, though my off-road capabilities are, let's just say, minimal to say the least. But I love the looks, and I think that's why most people will buy this. As always, you can click like.
And you can leave a comment.
And just there to subscribe.